Good morning and welcome to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show on July 26th, 2019. Do appreciate you joining us this morning. What a doozy of a parish council meeting last night we had, but let's run through weather and traffic and all that stuff, and we'll jump into that, I promise. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. If y'all didn't have a chance to catch the show, we did do a post parish council show last night. It may have been a little late. We started about 10:30. You can check that out, www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We have the audio version, which if you're in the car might be a little better. We do have a video version as well. It's about 17 minutes long. The audio version is, I edit it here, and it sounds wonderful as compared to the live version of the video. So give that a look if you want to get real deep on it. We're not going to cover the parish council as in depth. We're going to hit the high points today. Got some other stuff to cover as we roll into the weekend here for the final morning show of the week. If you're watching us on Facebook Live right now, we appreciate you being here. We're also we are of course on Facebook. We're also on Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We're posting content there just as fast and as quick as we can. So please check those out. Give us a like, a share. We'd appreciate likes, shares, and comments on this video. If you got any comments about what we're saying, how you think we can do better, we're always interested in what you have to say. So our traffic today is looking pretty good, kind of like yesterday. It's a nice day outside. The traffic seems to be reflecting that. Minor delays after O'Neill on I-12 and heading westbound, and minor delays also heading westbound on I-12, heading into the 10-12 split. Right now, 64 heading into Central and 190 at 4-H Club Road, relatively clear. Now, I say relatively clear, you know, there's going to be some stack up there, but not as bad as your normal days. 70 degrees currently, 90 is your high. It is going to get a little warm today, but scattered thunderstorms starting tomorrow morning, maybe overnight. We're getting back into that low 70s, high 60s in the evenings and mid 80s during the week. Not too bad for July, definitely. Your weather and traffic are brought to you by brproud.com, which is NBC WVLA 33 and WGMB Fox 44. We have a partnership with brproud.com, for which we are very appreciative. A thing of note, if you like the Saints and you watch Fox in the fall, you're an AT&T or DirecTV customer, you're probably going to need to give them a call at 1-800-288-2020, because right now they are not showing Fox 44 News. Again, that is 1-800-288-2020. If you watch the Saints, don't have access to Fox, give that number a call and give them a little bit of poking, a little bit of pride, and say you want Fox 44 back because you want to watch the Saints in the fall. The first thing on the agenda this morning is definitely the parish council. We'll talk about the commercial building in Watson first, and then we will get into the sewer ordinance or lack thereof. And anything else you want to check out, it's at www.livingstonparishnews.com. $5 a month. It should be pervasive. If you can't stay logged in, give us a call, 225-665-5176, or email Drew at lpn1898.com. So last night, there was, going into the meeting, there was an item on the agenda about a commercial building that was going up in Watson at 38108 Highway 16. That is right behind Premier Concrete, north of town. A lot of this came up because a neighbor, Mr. Stephen Muller, was disturbed by first the idea that this giant building, which is anywhere from 10,000 to 12,000 square feet, started springing out of the ground with no warning, and a illegal immigrant had been chased by Livingston Parish Sheriff's deputies in the area and had disappeared around the plant. As it turned out, at the time they didn't know, but when the immigrant was arrested and is now in the custody of Border Patrol. They found out that he was from Honduras, was here illegally, and had a murder charge against him in his native country of Honduras. So that caused Mr. Mueller to call Parish Councilman Frog Talbert, who then went out, saw the building, and then promptly went, and after more questions began on social media over the weekend, he went to go see the parish offices. They went out to the building. That would be the parish president's office, the permitting department, and the state fire marshal, determined that this building, which which Premier Concrete's representative, their attorney at the council, or who came to the council, explained that this was just a mix-up, that he thought he came to the parish and said, I want to build a dormitory for my workers. The attorney says that the plant works 24 hours. A lot of times they have to have people stay there overnight, and they were looking for better living conditions. And so the parish told him it would be permitted as residential. The attorney said that this was just a mix-up. Once they came and told him that it needed to be commercial, he went through the proper channels as expressed to him by the administration. Mr. Talbert's issue is that for commercial property, in most cases, or in all cases now, there is a certain process that you have to go through, including advertisements, signage, drainage impact studies, traffic impact studies, and this is all via ordinance. And all of that process, as Mr. Talbert put it last night, was usurped by the administration in telling this guy what to do, and there are still parts of it that are not done. For instance, Parish Councilman Jeff Ard asked Premier Concrete's attorney when they would be building a fence, and the attorney said, I'm not sure what fence you're referring to. All commercial construction in Livingston Parish, unless it is waived, requires an 8-foot privacy fence. So if they had been doing the proper things, they would have known that, which is what Mr. Talbert said immediately after the attorney said he wasn't sure what fence he was referring to. So all of that has been deferred until August 8th. That was a motion by Tracy Girlinghouse of District 7, seconded by Jeff Ard of District 1, because there is an issue of all this information just came out Wednesday, the day before the parish council meeting. It was confusing. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces. Mr. Girlinghouse wanted a couple of weeks to look at it. Most of the council agreed, although Mr. Talbert had put forth a resolution to demand that the parish president, talk about or make them go back through the process. Them would be Premier Concrete. He wanted them to start over, go back through the commercial permitting process, construction process. And according to permit director D.D. Delat, their construction is not done. So Mr. Talbert believed that he could, they could go back through that process. The attorney did bring up that Mr. Talbert has renovated a home to use as an office. Mr. Talbert admitted that and said that he had self-reported the permit office and is currently working with them and the fire marshal to upgrade his property. However, he said the difference is that he did not build a new building, and there no new building, no new concrete, none of that. He just renovated an existing structure. This is an all-new dormitory which is supposed to house 46 workers. It's anywhere from 10 to 12,000 square feet. Concerns about health of the employees, where the sewer's going, which we'll get to in a minute. So a lot of questions rolling around. Again, there was a 7-1 vote for a deferral. Mr. Talbert was the lone no vote, and it has been pushed to the August 8th council meeting. So we will be keeping an eye on that. We'll come back to you as this process unfolds to see what they will have to do. The other piece of the parish council meeting was the ordinance committee moved into or has moved on from the sewer ordinance. They've kicked it to the master plan committee. They just could not come to a consensus on where to start. Chairman Talbert wanted to start back over from the beginning. He brought the author of the ordinance, Eddie Idell from Alvin Fairburn and Associates, to come discuss the ordinance line by line by line. But there were just overarching concerns from Councilman Shane Mack and Councilman John Wascom about funding, whether or not it would affect single unit homeowners that have either a Modite or a septic tank, to which they continue to say no, but they continue to push. So that's been pushed to the Master Plan Committee. Then later in the actual parish council meeting, the idea of grinder pumps in Serene Acres came up. All of them do not meet a standard that they or a level that they need to be to operate in that area. Several homeowners had complaints. So Mr. Bubba Harris, who loves grinder pumps, I don't mind telling you, has requested, and the motion was passed to bring, a very singular piece of sewer to the ordinance committee, which is grinder pump requirements and regulations. They will be looking at Walker's ordinance on the subject, and we will be as well. The interesting thing is Mr. Tracy Girlinghouse, who joined us for a podcast and a morning show, said that he actually ran for the Walker Council on the platform of grinder pumps, and within a week they had fixed it. He had to find something else to do. So it will be interesting to see what the ordinance committee does with that. So jam-packed parish council meeting last night. There's also an opioid lawsuit coming up. We're going to be getting with the attorney Blaine Honeycutt on that to kind of see what the dirty details are. There'll be a story about that coming out over the weekend. Check us out, www.livingstonparishnews.com. If you don't want to spend the $5, you can spend $10. You can get our magazine in print in your mailbox, as well as a weekend edition. We switched to a magazine style on Thursdays. It's a little more durable, a little more portable. We hope that you like it. If you don't, leave us a comment. Social media in Walker has helped them with several cases, and they've started using it, much like the sheriff has, to get the word out. A lot of people have asked us, why don't we just share their posts? And the idea is Facebook is looking for pages to generate original content. So we leave it free. But we take it and share it via our page off of our website, because a share from a page to a page does not have the same effect as an initial share from our page. So it's just better for us to take that information, process it real quick, throw it up on our website, and shoot it out via our page. So that's why we do that, in case you're curious. We spend a lot of time focused on Facebook because we know that a lot of people use Facebook for breaking news. So we're trying to do the best thing we can to get it out to you guys. And that's it for the news for the day. I do believe that is enough. Jumping into sports, Mr. Rob DeArmond caught up with Cade Civic, who is still at AAA ball looking, he's trying to enjoy it while he's looking for that call up to the majors. Still with Detroit. You can read all about it, www.livingstonparishnews.com/sports. There is an interesting thing going on at Southeastern. They're trying to advance what they do at that school, and they've done really well by the students. And now they're focused not just on their education but their well-being. They've launched a Lion Up recovery branch, which is to help kids with alcohol abuse, drug abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse. It's a very interesting story. You can check it out. Mr. David Gray wrote it. It's at www.livingstonparishnews.com/living. This weekend, lots of shows going on. Friday, you have the Little Nelson Band at Crazy Dave's in Livingston. They start at 9 p.m. Saturday, you have Kanye Twitty, not Conway Twitty, at Drew and Willie's in Denham Springs. You have Bill Romano at Poppy's. Restoration Sound at La Coretta, Ivory White at Crazy Dave's, and 55 South at the Warsaw Marina. Sunday, Chase Tyler will be at the Prop Stop in Springfield at 2 p.m., and Wayward Jones will be at Boopaloo's in Springfield for 4 p.m. Thank you again for joining us. I do want to remind you, these shows are at www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We also ship them out via Anchor FM to all of your podcast platforms, wherever you get those, if you listen to podcasts. Otherwise, you can just listen or watch on our website. Again, that's www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. That is free content. We did a podcast with Congressman Ralph Abraham, who was running for governor. We ran that yesterday. It is on Facebook. It's also online at that URL I just gave you, or that website address, if you will. One more time around the bend on traffic. Still looking pretty clear. Nice Friday. This might be the last nice Friday in a while, as school will kick off here pretty soon. I know that most of the schools have orientation starting next week, with a start time of the week after, that first full week of August on Friday. One more time with the weather. It is currently 74 degrees. 90 is your high today. Lows of 70 overnight. Looking at rain over the weekend. Sorry if you had big plans. But it will cool it off a little bit and stay cool through the week next week. Highs of mid-80s, lows in the 70s and 60s overnight, which is very strange for late July, early August, but we'll take it. And I'm sure those kids out there practicing football will take it too. Again, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. We appreciate you joining us for this last morning show of the week here on July 26th. If you are interested in the deep dive on the Parish Council, we did it last night. You can find that, again, at that podcast website link that we talked about. We also pushed out stories last night on social media. If you don't have our app, we recommend it. We do have an app. Even if you don't want to read the stories, we do push out our breaking news that way if you're interested in it. That's anything from traffic to road work, arrests, when we have bad weather. Good to check it out. Again, my name is McHugh David. Appreciate you joining us. We hope you have a great weekend, and we will be back at you Monday morning.